Chapter 1. The Creation. In the beginning there was only God. He created the earth. The earth was dark and covered with water. So God said, "Let there be light." Light covered the earth. God liked it. He called the light day. He called the dark night. On the second day, God created the sky. Now the world had two parts. One was the earth, the other was the heavens. On the third day, God pushed the water aside. The dry land rose up. God called the land earth. He called the water seas. Then God created all the plants. He saw that it was good. On the fourth day, God said, "Day must be divided from night." So He made the sun and the moon. Then God put stars and planets in the sky. On the fifth day, God said, "Let there be fish in the sea and birds in the air." God blessed all kinds of fish and birds. Live well and have many children. On the sixth day, God created all the animals. Some animals ran fast over the grass, and some animals hid in the trees. God looked at the animals He created. He was happy. Then God said, "I will make a man and a woman. They will rule over all the animals on land." God rested on the seventh day. He blessed this day and made it His special day. This is why man does not work on this day. Adam and Eve. When God created man, He called him Adam. God saw that Adam needed a place to live. So He created a beautiful garden called Eden. In the middle of the garden, God put a special apple tree. He said to Adam, "You must not eat from my special tree. If you eat those apples, you will know about good and evil. Also, you will grow old and die." One day, God saw that Adam was lonely. "I will make a helper for this man." When Adam fell asleep, God took one of his ribs. From this rib, He made a woman. Adam woke up and was surprised to see Eve. He thanked God. For a long time, Adam and Eve lived in Eden. They did not suffer or need anything. In the garden, there lived a snake. It was a jealous animal. It did not like to see Adam and Eve so happy. One day, the snake said to Eve, "Why don't you eat the apples on that tree?" "We can't," said Eve. "If we eat this fruit, we will die." "Listen to me," the snake said. "God made you. Why does He want you to die? If you eat this fruit, you will become as powerful as God." Eve believed the snake. She picked an apple and bit it. Then she took the apple to Adam. Adam also ate the apple. Suddenly, Adam and Eve felt cold and afraid. When God saw Adam and Eve, He knew that they ate the apple from the tree. "What did you do?" Eve said, "The snake tricked me. He told me I should eat the fruit." Now God was very angry. "Leave here," He said to them. "You have disobeyed me. Now you must work hard for your food. You will know pain and sorrow. You will also grow old and die." Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, never to return.
Chapter 2. Cain and Abel. When Adam and Eve left Eden, they went east. Adam became a farmer. Soon they had 2 sons. The older son was named Cain. The younger son was called Abel. Abel became a shepherd. All day long he would follow his flock of sheep. Cain grew up to be a farmer like his father. He worked hard in the fields. His hands became rough and dirty. He thought, "This is very difficult work. I think it's easier to be a shepherd." In Eden, Adam and Eve talked to and thanked God directly. But now they had a new way. They would give precious things to God. They made a fire on a stone altar and put the things in the fire. This way, they could see the gift going up to heaven in the smoke. One day, Adam's family prepared their gifts to God. Abel put a fat young lamb on the altar. The flames grew large. This meant that God was pleased with Abel's present. Then Cain put his grains and green herbs on the fire, but the flames became small. Cain was angry. He saw that the Lord took Abel's gift easily, but God would not accept Cain's gift. Cain told Abel to meet him in a lonely field. When Abel came, Cain killed him. God called out to Cain, "Why did you kill your brother? No plants will grow for you anymore. You will move around the earth to find food." Cain replied, "O Lord, it is too much. People will kill me when they see me on the street." God said, "I will put a mark on your forehead. It will be a warning. If anyone kills you, I will punish him. But this mark will also make people remember your crime." So Cain left his home. Some people say he went to the land of Nod. Noah's Ark. God was upset. Everywhere he looked, people were evil. God decided he would destroy everyone and everything on earth. "I will start again," he thought. There was only one man that God liked. His name was Noah. God came to Noah and ordered him to build a big boat. He told Noah that he would cover the earth with water. Noah and his sons started to work on the boat. Other people laughed at him. Noah tried to warn them about the flood, but they just laughed harder. Finally, the boat was finished. God came to Noah and said, "Gather enough food for you and your family, and bring 2 of every animal into the boat." After Noah did what God told him, it began to rain. This was a big, heavy rain. Soon the land was covered with water. Only Noah, his family, and the animals on the boat were alive. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. As the clouds cleared, the waters began to drop. After 150 days, Noah's boat touched land. Noah saw that they were on Mount Ararat. Noah and his family made a new home near the mountain. Then they gave precious gifts to God. Tower of Babel. Noah had many children. Those children had more children. Soon, there were thousands of people again in the world. They went around the earth, looking for a good place to live. Soon these people came to the valley of Shinar. They found a lot of clay and water there. "Let's make bricks," they said. "We can build a tall tower." "Let's build a tower all the way up to heaven." The people were very excited. They started to make many bricks, and the tower rose up higher and higher. One day, God looked down and saw the tower. "These people have become too proud," said God. "They think they can touch heaven by building bricks." God decided to teach these people a lesson. "Let's see if they can work together in different languages," said God. As soon as he spoke, the people became confused. They could not understand each other. Everywhere, people were making strange sounds. The work stopped. The people became afraid and left the valley. The tower these people built was called Babel. Never again did all the people of the earth share the same language.
Chapter 3. Moses and the Burning Bush. There came a time when the Israelites moved to Egypt to find food. Eventually, they became the slaves of Pharaoh. Pharaoh was worried because they continued to grow in number. So he told his soldiers to kill all the Jewish male babies. Moses was born at this time to an Israelite woman in Egypt. She did not want him to be killed. She placed Moses in a basket and then put the basket in the river Nile. An Egyptian princess found Moses and raised the baby herself. Moses grew up as an Egyptian prince. Moses found out that he was really an Israelite. So he ran away from Egypt and became a shepherd. One day, a nearby bush began to burn. Moses was surprised because the bush stayed green. When Moses came closer, he heard a voice. "I am the God of the Israelites," said the voice. "I have seen the Israelites suffering in Egypt. I want you to lead your people to Canaan. This is a good land with milk and honey." Moses was afraid, but he believed in God. So he left the burning bush and started back to Egypt, holding the rod of God. Escape from Egypt. God sent 9 terrible disasters to Egypt, but Pharaoh would not let the Israelites leave. Finally, God killed all the firstborn Egyptians. Then Pharaoh told Moses to take his people and go from Egypt. After they left, Pharaoh changed his mind. He gathered a small army and chased after Moses and his people. At the shore of the Red Sea, the Egyptian army had almost caught up with them. Now the Israelites were afraid. "Did you lead us here to die?" they asked Moses. "Pharaoh is coming with an army. He will kill us all." "Do not worry," said Moses. He raised his rod. "God will push the waters aside. Then we can escape." Suddenly, the waters of the Red Sea split into 2. Dry land appeared between 2 walls of water. The Israelites ran forward. When Pharaoh came to the Red Sea, the Israelites were already on the other side. "Forward!" cried Pharaoh. Then God released the waters. They rushed back together and covered the Egyptian army. Pharaoh and all his soldiers died. The Israelites were safe and free. The 10 Commandments. In the desert, the Israelites camped near Mount Sinai. It was 3 months after they escaped from Egypt. Moses told the people to wait. Then he went alone up into the mountain. God called to Moses, "I want to come close to the Israelites so they can hear me. I will come in a great cloud in 2 days." After 2 days, a storm moved over Mount Sinai. Thunder crashed in the sky. The Israelites were frightened, but Moses led them to the foot of Mount Sinai. God spoke, "I am the Lord your God. You shall obey these laws. You shall have no gods but me. You shall make no statues or pictures of gods. You shall not use my name carelessly. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Honor your father and mother. You shall not commit murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not lie. You shall not be jealous of your neighbor. These are the 10 commandments that God told Moses and his people. They promised to follow these laws. Again, God called Moses up the mountain. This time, Moses stayed on Mount Sinai for 40 days. The people became afraid. They asked Aaron, Moses' brother, to make them a new god. When God saw them pray before a golden calf, he became very angry. Moses begged him not to punish the Israelites. God wrote his commandments on 2 stones. Moses took these stones down to the camp. "These are the commandments from God," he shouted. "Follow these commandments, and he will protect you. If you disobey them, you will be destroyed."
Chapter 4. Samson. Samson was the king of Israel for 20 years. He was also the strongest man in the world. He killed many Philistines, the enemies of Israel. Samson fell in love with a beautiful woman named Delilah. When the Philistine leaders heard this, they made a plan. Some of them went to her and said, "Find the secret of Samson's great strength, and we will pay you a lot of money." One evening, Delilah said to Samson, "What's the secret of your strength?" Samson answered, "If someone ties me up with 7 new bowstrings, I will be as weak as any other man." Delilah got 7 new bowstrings. She tied Samson up during the night. Then she told the Philistines to come. When Samson woke up, he broke the bowstrings easily. The Philistines ran away. The next day, Delilah said to Samson, "I don't think you really love me. Now tell me how I can really tie you up." Samson answered, "Tie me up with 7 new ropes." However, it turned out he had lied to her again. Delilah was getting angry and she cried. Samson told her the truth. "Here's my secret. If my hair is cut, I will lose my strength." That night, she cut all of Samson's hair off. The Philistines easily caught him and cut his eyes out with a knife. Then they put Samson in their prison. The prison guards often brought Samson to the temple. Many Philistines would make fun of him there, but they didn't notice that his hair was growing back. One day, Samson was standing again at the temple. Samson prayed, "O Lord, make me strong just once more. Let me make the Philistines suffer for what they did to me." He pushed against the pillars of the temple. They fell over and the temple collapsed. Hundreds of Philistines died with Samson. David and Goliath. The Israelites and the Philistines began fighting again. The strongest warrior of the Philistines was named Goliath. He was almost 10 feet tall. He was covered in heavy bronze armor. Goliath shouted at the Israelites, who were on the other side of the valley.
Soldiers of Israel, send your best warrior to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves.
When the Israelites heard this, they were afraid. They didn't know what to do. Every day Goliath shouted his challenge. At this time, there was an Israeli teenager named David. He was a shepherd, not a warrior. David heard about Goliath and decided to fight the warrior. He thought to himself, "The Lord our God protects me. He will protect me from this warrior." He picked up 5 large smooth stones and put them in his bag. Then he walked toward the Philistine camp. Goliath saw David coming and was angry.
Who is this boy that the Israelites send to fight me? Do they think this is a silly game? I will kill you and show your head to them on my spear.
Goliath yelled and ran at David. David stood still and took a stone out of his bag. He put the stone in his sling. Then he began to swing the sling over his head. Suddenly, he let the stone fly out of the sling. It hit Goliath right in the center of his forehead. Goliath fell down on his face. David ran to him and pulled Goliath's sword out. David cut off Goliath's head and held it up to show the Philistines. The Philistines saw their hero's head in the hand of David. They were terrified. They turned and ran away. Much later, David became king of Israel.
Chapter 5. King Solomon. When David died, his son Solomon became king. One day, 2 women came before Solomon. They wanted him to solve their argument. One of them was carrying a baby. The first woman said, "King Solomon, listen to our story. This woman and I both had babies. One night, this woman's baby died. She took her dead baby into my room. As I was sleeping, she took my baby." "Liar," shouted the other woman. "Your story is not true." King Solomon shouted, "Cut the baby into 2 with a sword. Then give 1/2 to each woman. This way they will both be satisfied." "No," cried the first woman. "Let her have the baby. It's better that I lose him and he lives." The second woman cried out, "That is a good decision." When King Solomon heard these words, he said to the first woman, "You must be the true mother of this baby." No mother would allow her baby to be killed. When the people heard this judgment, they knew their king was wise and good. Daniel and the Lions. Daniel was a Jewish prisoner taken from Jerusalem. Persia had defeated Israel in war. The Persian king wanted many young Jews to serve him. Daniel was one of these young men. When Daniel grew up, a new king took power in Persia. His name was Darius. King Darius really liked Daniel. Daniel was now a very wise and good man. So Darius made Daniel the most important official in Persia. Many of the other Persian officials were jealous of Daniel. They tried to think of some way to make Darius angry with Daniel. But Daniel was a very honest man. His enemies could not find any fault with Daniel. But one day, a Persian official had an idea. All the officials went to King Darius. They told Darius that there was a lot of confusion in Persia. The people are asking many different gods, many different things, they said. You should make a new law. No one should be permitted to pray for the next 30 days. What will happen if a man is caught praying? Asked King Darius. Then he should be thrown into the cave where the lions are kept, answered the officials. King Darius signed the new law. When Daniel heard about the new law, he was sad, but he couldn't stop praying. He went to his room to pray to God. The officials saw this and told the king. Darius ordered the arrest of Daniel. Daniel was taken to the lion's cave. The king said, "Your God will find a way to save you. I cannot." Then the guards put Daniel into the cave. They closed the opening with a large rock. King Darius was so sad that he could not eat, drink, or sleep. In the morning, he ran to the cave. There stood Daniel, unhurt. King Darius was amazed. Daniel said, "My Lord sent an angel to shut the mouths of the lions." Then King Darius knew the power of Daniel's God.